Hi, everyone, and welcome to Google Classroom Ed Puzzle Training for North Branford School District. So today we're going to learn a little bit about Google Classroom and what you can do with it with your students. But first, we're going to get into Google Classroom norms for this school year. This is to ensure a friendlier and more productive student experience. So the new norms that we're going to talk about today is first, naming your classroom, adding adults as teachers, creating assignments in the classwork section only and using due dates, making the date assigned is the topic when you post an assignment, and using whole group meetings with the Google Meet link that you find in the banner. So first, naming your classroom. This year, when you're naming your classroom, please start with your last name and then your class name. So for example, if you're in Teves, you can say Smith, grade 3. NBIS could be Smith, 6th grade science, section B if you want to. NBHS could say Smith, Art Basics, Block C. And don't forget that when you're creating your classes, you can also just put the section in the section area when you create your class. So here you can see my classes: Ferrati General Science, Ferrati Environmental, and then you can see I put the sections there, B, C, E, and F. Next, we're going to talk about how to properly add any adults to your Google Classroom. When you add an adult, you should add them as a teacher and not as a student. So any co-teacher, para, administrator, coach, etc. should be added as a teacher. So you will go to the People tab in Google Classroom. Under the Teachers section, you will click on the icon here to add a teacher. So for example, in my B block class, I'll go over to People, Teachers, click on the icon, and I can now add any teacher I want and send them an invite. Now, if you find yourself in many different classrooms, you can also choose notifications. So in your main Google Classroom page, you will click on the hamburger. You will scroll all the way to the bottom to where it says Settings. And then you will then click on Class Notifications and choose which classes you would like to receive notifications for. So here I am in my Google Classroom. I click the hamburger. I scroll all the way to the bottom. I click on Settings, scroll to the bottom once again. I click on Class Notifications, and here I can toggle them on and off as I choose. Next, we'll talk about creating and organizing your assignments in Google Classroom. Create all of your assignments in the Classwork tab and not in the stream. The stream is for announcements only, not for assignments. The Classwork tab is where you should post and make your assignments, and you should organize them by date assigned. So here you see I assigned this work on May 28th. I assigned this work on May 21st, and that's what the students will see in Google Classroom. Also, when creating any assignments, you choose to use the date as the topic, and it helps students to find and manage their work much more easily. And also add a due date to each of your assignments. The reason for this is when students are in their Google Classroom, they can click on the To Do button, and a list of all their work that needs to be done will be listed with due dates. So this will help all students prioritize what they need to do and when. If there's no due dates, it gets lost in a mashup of all the work owed in class and can be very overwhelming for students. Finally, use the Meet link that you find in your Google Classroom banner. You can click on You'll click on Generate Meet Link. This pop-up screen will then appear, and click Generate Meet Link once again. And then this pop-up will appear. Your link will be right here, and you can copy and paste that, or you don't have to do anything, and then choose if you want it to be visible to your students. All of these settings can be changed. So here I am in my eBlock class. I click on Generate Meet Link. Click on Generate Meet Link once again, and a specific link just for my Google Classroom eBlock class will be made. I can copy and paste this if I want to. You can choose if I want to have it visible to students. So because I haven't started teaching yet, I'm going to turn that off and click Save. Now once I start teaching, I'll hit the gear, I'll scroll down, and then I will be able to turn the link back on to my students. So here where it says visible to students, I can just simply turn it on. So now the link will appear in my banner, and all the students can easily meet me in Google Meet by clicking on the link. So just to recap the new Google Classroom norms, we talked about how you name your classroom using your last name first. You add all adults as teachers. Create all your assignments in the classwork section only, and make sure to use due dates. The day that you assigned the work should be your topic when you post the assignment, and use the whole group meetings link in your banner for students to easily find it. All right, now we're going to refamiliarize ourselves with Google Classroom back to basics. So just a reminder where you can find it. You can either type in classroom.google.com or click on your waffle and choose the Google Classroom icon. You'll then find your home screen with all of the classes that you are either in as a teacher, or some you are actually in as a student, like the technology Google Classroom, you'll be as a student. So just choose whatever class you want to work with and click on it. And then you'll notice that Google Classroom has 4 tabs: the stream, classwork, people, and grades. The stream tab is a place to post reminders, communicate with your students, and also anything that you assign from the classwork tab will also show up here if you choose that in your class settings. So here is where you can start typing an announcement. This icon here is what it looks like when I post an assignment. And down here is an announcement. So these were notes that they just had to watch, but they didn't actually have to do anything with them. So here is my stream for one of my classes. You can see here's an announcement. Here's an assignment that I posted. Here's a question that I posted. And if you look in the settings for your class, you're going to see you have some options with your stream. So first of all, who can post or comment? Right now, I only have teachers that can post and comment. I don't allow my students to, but you can change that setting as you so wish. Classwork on the stream. So this is also another fairly new setting. So you can show the full classwork, the full assignment. So show attachments and details. You can show the condensed notifications, and that's the one that I choose, or you can do none. And so the students would then have to always choose the classwork tab in order to find their notifications. Show deleted items. If I deleted something on the stream, I can still see it. If I toggle that on, I leave that off. And then Guardian Summaries is something that everyone should have on, because this is going to send an update to the parents of the students in the class about their work in progress and if they owe any work. Next is the Classwork tab. This is where all of your assignments will get made, and they'll also be posted here. So you can see this was one that I did prior to COVID. So I used to do the topics as units. Now I will do the topics as dates. So here's my Classwork tab in my Google Classroom. You can see everything is organized by the date that I assigned it. Now, don't forget that you can also click and drag and move anything if you want to move something up. Sometimes I might post the assignment in the wrong date, so I can quickly just move it by clicking and dragging the object. And I can also click on a specific topic. So that was more useful when I used to organize everything by their unit, but I could always click on May 11th, and here's everything that I assigned on May 11th. In the classwork tab, you have the create button, and this is where you can make different assignments for the students. You can make an assignment, you can make a quiz assignment, you can make a new question. That's how I used to do attendance every day during distance learning. I can post a material. So that's something that the kids are just going to reference, but they're not actually going to do anything with it. I can reuse a post, and that's really handy if you're teaching multiple sections of the same class. I can make the assignment in my block A class, and then I can reuse it in my block B class. And then the topic. So that's how I created the topics for the dates that I assigned the work. So here's the button in my Google Classroom, and I can just click what I would like to do for the kids that day. Next, we have the People tab, and this is a list of everyone in your classroom, and it allows for you to communicate with everyone who is in your classroom. So the Teachers tab, again, this is how we add a new teacher, and they would be listed here. So you'll see myself and Mrs. Simmons were in this class. And then under Students, you have their student name. You can email the individual parents. You can also email all the guardians to your class. And you can also add students this way as well by typing in their email addresses, but I think it's a lot easier to just give the students the code to your classroom. So next is the Grades tab, and this is an area to track their grades. Just a reminder, it does not currently connect to PowerSchool. It may in the future, but as of now, it doesn't. So I can see here that student 1 turned in this assignment, and they also completed this assignment as well, and they got a 20 out of 20. On the top, it's the class average, so I can see this assignment, my class had an average of 19.36 out of 20. So this is really handy to keep track of what the students are doing. And you can also click on each individual student name and get a list of what assignments they've turned in and which ones are missing. So that was Google Classroom back to basics. Next, we're going to talk about how to specifically create assignments in Google Classroom. I just wanted to also let you know that all presentations that you see in Edpuzzle will also be on the district website for professional learning, which the link you will find in your PD menu. Our last segment of Google Classroom is about creating assignments. When you are creating any assignments for the students, make sure you do that in the Classwork tab. When you're in that tab, you will click on the Create button and then Assignments. A new window will open, so you can now design your assignment. The first part here is you're going to add a title. Next, you can add instructions. That is optional. You can add something either from your computer, from Google Drive. You can also add a link. You can add a YouTube video. And then also, this is a new button, the Create button. You can open up a blank Google Doc, a Google Slides, whatever you choose. You can do it right from this button here. Once you add to your assignment, you're going to have an option of what the students can do with the file. The first option is they can view the file, which means every student will view the same exact file, but they will not be able to edit it. The next option is students can edit the file. This means that every student in that class will edit the same exact file. Then finally, my favorite option is to make a copy for each student. Each student gets their own copy, and Google automatically puts their name on it. So every student can do individual work. On the right-hand side, your options are which class you would like the assignment to go to, and you can pick multiple classes. which students. You can choose which students. That is a great feature because this is how we can differentiate our instruction. We can create 2 assignments. One can go to a certain group of students and the other assignment can go to another group of students. Your point value can go here, and again, you can edit that. Very important, give them a due date to help the students stay organized. Next is your topic. If you want to do it by date or by unit, if we go into distance learning, we're asking that you choose a topic by date. You can also add a rubric to your assignment, and you can click on this button here to add the rubric or to create one. And then you also can do originality reports. This is Google's feature to check for plagiarism. Each teacher gets 5 originality reports per year. So you can attach this to 5 different assignments per year. And then finally, assign it. By clicking on the blue or the white triangle in the blue box, you can assign it, which means it'll post immediately to your Google Classroom. You can schedule it to post at a later date. You can save it as a draft, or you can just discard it because maybe you decided to go a different direction. So here I am in my Google Classroom under the Classwork tab, and I have my Create button. I can click on Assignments. I will give a title here. Complete the work would be the instructions. So now again, I can add something. So maybe I want to start by adding a YouTube video about, and I can click search. And I can add this one, get a link posted. I also want them to create a doc. And so I'm creating a brand new doc. And so the new Google Doc will then open up onto your computer. And so what I'll do is I'll just add some instructions to the doc. A 2-paragraph summary. And then I'll label this as assignment 2. And I can actually close down this tab, and you can see it's already here. And now I'm going to choose that every student is going to get their own copy. I'll go over here and choose which classes I would like to post it in. So all of these classes will get the same assignment. Once you choose multiple classes, you can't choose all, you have to choose all students. If I chose just the class that I'm working in now, I can then choose which students I would like to work with. I will then change the point value. My due date is going to be Monday. I can do a time that works well. For distance learning, I used to put 11:59 p.m. because I had until the end of the day. My topic will be the date that I assigned it. So I'm assigning it today. And then if I had a rubric or wanted to create a rubric, I can click here, and I can also check for plagiarism if it's something that I want to do. And just a reminder, you get 5 of those per year. So now I can assign it immediately, I can schedule it, and I can save it as a draft. And so you see it pops up at the top of the Classwork tab. It's grayed out right now because it's in draft form, but once I officially assign that to my kids by releasing it to them, it'll then turn darker. So this ends our Google Classroom tutorial for our North Branford School District. I just want to remind you that all of these presentations will be found on the Professional Learning website. That site is sites.google.com/northbranfordschools.org/NB Professional Learning. You will find all of the presentations you see today, and also a reminder, if you need any help, you can reach out to myself or even Christy Scanlon. Thanks for listening. Bye. So I'm going to work backwards and teach you how to archive your Google Classroom, because so many of you created them in the spring for distance learning that we should now get rid of them so we can start new with our new classes. So the question is, why are we going to archive our classes? So we're done with the classes from last year. So we want this class page to disappear from the student's homepage and also your Google Classroom homepage. The class page will show up in a different area. Thank you, Google, for instant organization. And you can always access all the materials still in an archived class. So from your Google Classroom homepage, you are going to click on the little snowman. In the pop-up screen that appears, you're going to click Archive, and then another pop-up will appear because Google always wants to double check with us, and you will click Archive once again. So now, where did the class go? It disappeared from your main Google Classroom, and it's going to appear in your archived classes. You find this by clicking on the hamburger, and then you scroll to the bottom to archived classes, and all the materials are still going to be stored here in the archived class and also on your Google Drive. So what do you do with an archived class? So you can move it around, you can restore it, which means you're going to make the class active again, or you will completely delete the class. I don't suggest completely deleting the class unless you're 100% sure that you're never going to use it again. Otherwise, just leave it in your archived classes and you can revisit it whenever you need to. So again, if you delete it, you can still access the materials on Google Drive. It's just you cannot access it on Google Classroom. So let me show you archiving the class. So here's my main Google Classroom page. I click on the snowman. I hit archive, and you'll see, once again, double check, that the class will now disappear from my main Google Classroom. I can go into my hamburger, scroll to the bottom, and click on archive classes to then find it. So here it is. I can open this class up. I will see everything that I did with this class. All the classwork will still be there as well. But this will now disappear from my student's homepage. I can also, let me go back. When I click on the snowman out here, I can move it, copy it, restore it, or completely delete it.